Autism Acceptance Month, a time set aside to emphasize understanding and respect for autistic individuals. Pediatrician Dr. Cyrus joins us this morning to talk with us about this disorder. Good morning, Dr. Cyrus. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Give me an idea of what autism is.
You know, we see autism as a problem where a child has a problem with thinking, communicating, interacting with others. It can range from being mild, because it is a spectrum, to being extremely severe. It's a neurodevelopmental issue, and so we see it a genetic vein, if you will, to look at it being common and runs in families.
We mentioned earlier 1 in 36 children in the U.S. are affected. Is it more common in boys or girls?
It's more common in boys, and we feel like it's more common in boys because of the X chromosome, of the Y chromosome. We have a fragile X issue, and many times when there's not a balance of another X, which would be, a girl is XX, then with the Y, there's not that balance, and so it can affect boys about 4 times more often than girls.
Do we know what causes it?
Not really. We feel like there is that genetic issue because we see it run in families. We also know that therapies, and we know that many times there's a delay in development, but there's not an absence of development. It's just it takes them longer to start to learn to communicate or interact or be able to understand what they're being asked to do.
So as a parent, as you're watching your child, are there things to be on the lookout for? I know there's this kind of scale or some questions that a pediatrician can go over with, but kind of give us an idea of how it's diagnosed.
Well, it's a behavioral diagnosis. There is not a test that typically tests for it, unless there's like Fragile X, and that there is a genetic test for that and some of the other genetic issues. But for the most part, this is diagnosed around 5 years of age. And that's, to me, the sad part is that we have this MCHAT, revised MCHAT, that basically looks at toddlers. It starts out at 18 months, and we again do it at 24 months. Sometimes we'll do it even up around 30 months of age and 36 months of age, depending on how the child is developing or if there's real concerns from the parents. But it's delayed for some reason because it is behavioral many times until 5 years of age, which makes the child miss out on a lot of therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy. Typically, they don't need physical therapy because their motor skills are okay.
I want to show this full screen again because one of the things that we were talking about, the Autism Organization has this questionnaire. It's basically 20 questions, and you can process through there. For example, questions, if you point at something across the room, does your child look at it? Or have you ever wondered if your child might be deaf? Does your child play, pretend, or make believe? Does your child like climbing on things? What do these questions kind of all help you in your diagnosis?
Toddlers are very interactive. They're very social. They like to, I always have the rule of a toddler is what's mine is mine and what yours is mine. That's right. And that makes sometimes a really difficult toddler. But autistic children have a tendency to want to play by themselves. You may walk into the room. Typically, when a parent walks into the room, the child looks up and they interact with the parent. Autistic children don't do that. They may say, you may ask the child a question. They act like they didn't even hear you. And that's one of the big red flags in my mind, is that the child acts like they're deaf. That's a very big concern, and I think that you should be bringing that to your physician's notice.
So we'll put the website up so people, if you are interested, and of course it is a website with these 20 questions. There's not a diagnosis associated with it. It's just an idea for you to gauge, is my child heading in the right direction? Last question, I know it's probably the most controversial. A lot of people feel that vaccinations can attribute to autism.
It cannot. I mean, it has not shown any evidence. We've proven this over and over again, but there are still those concerns, and physicians understand those concerns. They should be able to help educate the parents, and so we should be able to get the intervention, because intervention is key. Early intervention is key to this, and the quicker we can get the child into speech therapy, into occupational therapy, helping the parents will be the best for that child, and educating the parent about vaccines not having an influence on autism is extremely important.
Dr. Cyrus, as always, we appreciate your insight and your time today. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me, and happy tax day.